you think that disability correlates with obesity?
So we didn't have the data to look at that in our study. Certainly in other studies, people have shown that frailty, and one part of being frail is being underweight, appears to correlate with disability, but that's really much later in people's MS course. What people haven't looked at in a lot of detail is weight and disability relatively early in MS, so either before MS is diagnosed or in the first few years after diagnosis. People really only looked at it much later on.
How do you think diet will affect MS on the long term?
That's a huge question. That's a really huge question. I don't think there's one simple answer. I think that in terms of diet, having a healthy diet, and by a healthy diet, that doesn't necessarily mean you have to eat meat. It can be vegetarian, even vegan with a good varied diet is really important, and we know that that's really important for your general health. And actually when you have MS, your general health is really, really important as well. So I think diet is very, very important in promoting general health and general brain health. And what I think is not healthy sometimes is when people take very restrictive diets or diets that are very, very high in one particular thing. And that's general advice, it's not specific to MS, but I think it's something that people really do need to be aware of.
Since MS is an inflammatory disease, do you think an anti-inflammatory diet would be beneficial? Because that could have a relative high impact on the disease.
That's something there's a lot of interest in. There aren't any studies that either show or don't show that. It's the kind of thing that's really, really hard to study. So when we look at big diet studies, even in things that are much more common than MS, so things like heart disease, actually the diet studies are very, very difficult because people find it very difficult to stick to diets, because often the effects can be quite small. So I think teasing that out is very, very hard, and I don't really have the answer to that one.
So I've just been talking to Dr. Ruth Dobson. Now, she had very interesting ideas about diet, and she explained that it's very difficult to find a way which really helps, which we can verify, because most diets are linked to observational studies. That means you can't really watch over a person. Then the second thing is that, which is very interesting, is that obesity is not directly linked to MS. Most individuals may have been normal weight, and after their diagnosis they often return to even an underweight status, which can be caused by different factors such as muscle loss or just a more healthy diet. Nobody knows it, but that's a different story. So what I would like to know, what do you think about this? Were you a bit overweight when you had your diagnosis, or were you underweight? Well, just talk about it. We would like to hear about it. So just like, subscribe, and share.